guys, welcome to the first part of this week's Coffee and Hair Show, taking you through all the new collected editions into the store. As you can see, it's a pretty big week this week. Obviously, we invested very heavily, doubled the size of the Image Comics section. I still need to do a bit of a video on that just to take you through all of that, but we're still doing a couple of tweaks here and there. What else are we doing? We are increasing the size of the omnibus section. So you'll see there's a little bit of investment, more omnibuses here. We're also going to extend out the size of the IDW and the Dark Horse section. So again, you'll see a lot of graphics through here are IDW, Dark Horse, lots of great stuff through these publishers. So it's very important to us to showcase that. You know, it's we've obviously only a finite amount of space in the store, but we'll always try to utilize the space as best we can. So the image section, as I say, is now double in size. The new releases are now over beside the new release single issue. So the idea was to sort of have an all-encompassing new release section, which had your singles, your variants, and your graphic novels on a weekly basis. So we're just always trying bits and pieces out and just trying to, as I say, maximize the space of the store and maximize the amount of range we can have. So as I say, it's a big week this week, lots to get through. So we might as well kick things off. So this is definitely going to be one of the most popular things this week. This is the Lobo Big Fragging Compendium 1. So this has been long in demand, and DC are starting to put out these compendiums on a quite regular basis now. It's great to see. You know, you had Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, you had Batman Beyond compendium, you had the Nightwing compendium, and now we have Lobo as well. Way too much stuff for me here to list. A ton of mini-series, but also, you know, Lobo from the very start, the first 4-issue mini-series, the first 10 issues of Volume 2 after that, annuals, 4-issue mini-series, appearances in Demon and a Man of Steel and all sorts. So as I say, we got a few copies of that in, and I don't envision them lasting too long. On the omnibus side of things, as I say, we've got a few new Marvel omnibuses in this week. So first of all, we have Axe Judgment Day, which was the crossover from a year or two ago, which was Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals. Predominantly, it was it basically went across every title in the Marvel canon at the time. So you had Axe Eve of Judgment, and then Judgment Day was a 6-issue miniseries. Then you had tons of stuff to say, Immortal X-Men, X-Men Red, Wolverine, Legion of X, Fantastic Four, Avengers, went across everything. So when war breaks out between Eternals and the X-Men, the Avengers are stuck in the middle, beginning to realise how many secrets their so-called friends have been keeping from them. So yeah, that is new into the store. We've never had that before. Next up is Iron Fist, the early years, Danny Rand. So again, this is Iron Fist pretty much from the start. You know, you've got the Iron Fist issues, you've got Deadly Hands Kung Fu issues, you've got some Marvel Team Up issues, Bizarre Adventures issues. So this basically covers absolutely everything for Danny Rand the early years. I mean, you just have to look at the people involved here. Chris Claremont, Doug Moench, you know, John Byrne, Larry Hama, just a absolute murderer's row of talent there. Next up is Spider-Man Ben Reilly, Volume 2. Now, this leads to, as ever, because isn't there one every week, a classic Diamond story. We did order Volume 1 and Volume 2, so we had both as a set on the shelves. They've only sent Volume 2. So, Volume 1, fingers crossed, next week. But yeah, the shocking conclusion of the Clone Saga, Spider-Man Ben Reilly, Volume 2, and as I say, hopefully Volume 1 to follow next week. Next up, we have Captain Marvel. So, from the original Captain Marvel to Thanos, cornerstones of Marvel's cosmic universe debut in this Out of This World omnibus. So yeah, this goes right across the Marvel superheroes featuring Captain Marvel. Then the Captain Marvel series itself, 1 to 33, some Invincible Iron Man issues as well. And there's that Marvel superheroes featuring Captain Marvel original cover. Moving on then, so some new releases first of all. So first up is Penguin, the Prodigal Bird. This has been one of DC's best series of the last couple of years. If you listen to the podcast at all, you'll hear us talk about this all the time when we're doing our monthly reviews show. Just really great stuff from Tom King, Rafael de la Torre as well. First 6 issues here. It's a 12-issue miniseries, so it'll be 2 volumes. That's Volume 1 out this week. Next up we have Sins of Sinister. So again, another X event coming towards the end of the fall of Krakoa. So this collects Sins of Sinister, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants 1 to 3, Immortal X-Men 1 to 3, Nightcrawlers 1 to 3, and Sins of Sinister Dominion number 1. So yeah, people involved in this such as Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing, Cy Spurrier, tons and tons of great names involved in that. Pardon me. Next up, The Mighty Barbarians. This is a great wee title from Blaze Studios. You know, they have this tagline of before superheroes, before it all stood, The Mighty Barbarians. They essentially pitched this as the Avengers, but in barbarian times, where all sort of the big guys all come together. The guy who writes it, Michael Morecki, does a great series called Barbaric as well. So really does love his swords and sorcery stuff, and it shows. Next up, we have the Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos. So we got a copy of this in last week. We should have had several copies, but again, damn it. James Tynion the Fourth, Tip Rombal. So I chatted about that last week, but more copies in stock this week. In increasing the IDW section, I've come across this range called the Library Collections, and they do them for some of their biggest sort of franchises. So first of all, we've got the Godzilla IDW Library Collection. This is volume 2. This contains the 12-issue series Kingdom of Monsters by Eric Powell, Tracy Morris, Jason Chiamarella, Phil Hester, and Victor Santos as well. There is a volume 1. It's on back order, so hopefully be in sooner rather than later. I showed off last week Dungeons and Dragons Library Volume 2. Well, this week we got Library Collection Volume 1 in as well, so that we have both of those on the racks. Back in stock as well after selling out is Spider-Man Reign from Carrie Andrews. You know, one of the absolute darker Spider-Man tales. And yeah, sold out really, really quickly. And that's obviously in anticipation of the sequel series coming soon. Next up we have Collapser. This is from Gerard Way's short-lived Young Animal imprint at DC Comics. This was a 6-issue miniseries actually written by his brother Mikey Way, art by Sean Simon. I really, really enjoyed this. It's a superhero who can use a black hole and basically collapse space all around him. Really, really good. Yeah, highly recommend that. 6-issue series, all included in there. Next up we have Kanto, If Only I Had a Heart. Hardcovers back in stock. Again, were due last week. I'll look into it. But yeah, nice hardcovers here. This is Kanto moving across from IDW to Dark Horse. So from one section to another in here. And yeah, this is beautiful hardcover, expanded art, loads of behind the scenes artwork and stuff as well at the back. A couple of bigger editions we have the Fifth Beatle, the Brian Epstein story. So a beautiful big hardcover for this. In 1961, 27-year-old Brian Epstein walked into a dank Liverpool basement to see an unknown rock band perform, and our world was forever changed. The Fifth Beatle is Epstein's true, untold true story, the tale of a genuine visionary who discovered, managed, and guided the Beatles to unprecedented international stardom, rewriting the rules of the pop music business in the process. But he was also the ultimate outsider, constantly searching for a place where he might belong. So yeah, full collection of that, and again in that beautiful hardcover format. Speaking of hardcover format, we have The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, National Anthem. I mentioned Gerard Way with Young Animal. Of course, this was the spin-off from My Chemical Romance's album, Danger Days, doing a future set dystopian book. And really, really good stuff. Sean Simon, again, involved with that one. Leonardo Romero as well, Jordi Belair. So a ton of great talent involved in that. Next up, as I say, we've got we've got some bits and pieces here that are new, and some bits and pieces again that are for these expansion of the sections. First up, we have 24, the Omnibus. 24, quite simply, in my opinion, one of the greatest TV shows ever, and very much at home in this store because 24 is relatively realistic in its first season, and after that you just have to go with it and accept that Jack Bauer is a superhero, and that's why you tune in. But yeah, the comics are really, really good. They go into Jack's past back when he worked in Special Forces, and yeah, really, really good stuff. So this volume collects 4 tales, One Shot, Midnight Sun, Stories, and Cold Wars, plus the 5-issue prequel story, 24 Nightfall, so all in one omnibus there. Next up is Gramercy Park. This looks like a really cool sort of murder mystery noir. Graphic novel that defies the obvious and cliche, allowing the reader the freedom to wander in this mysterious adventure and get lost in the poetic script and embrace the delicate drawings. Yeah, looks really, really cool. This is from a European sort of imprint from IDW called Eurocomics IDW. So could be pretty cool. Next up we have Atomic Robo, the world's greatest science adventure magazine and the dawn of a new era. So again, IDW, and Atomic Robo is one of they've had that franchise for quite some time. But yeah, science fiction, and I think there's another book through here as well, linked to that. Next up is a new release, which is Batman Catwoman, The Gotham War. So Chip Zdarsky, Tini Howard, Matthew Rosenberg, and Mike Hawthorne involved with this. This was very much a love it or hate it type Bat story. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Some people really hated it. Because it was essentially all about Catwoman training criminals to do low-level crimes that were sort of victimless crimes, because if they did that and they received the right training to do that, it meant that they didn't become desperate criminals and, you know, go out and murder people and this and that. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a different take on it. You know, the Bat family sort of start to slowly come around to Catwoman's way of thinking. You know, Bruce, of course, is zero tolerance when it comes to people breaking the law, etc., etc. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Part of Zdarsky's run. Next up, Captain Marvel by Margaret Stoll. So this is the Mighty Captain Marvel 0 to 9, Captain Marvel 125 to 129, Generations Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel and the Life of Captain Marvel 1 to 5. So a collection there of all those recent books. Next up is Cobra Commander. So this is the next release in the Energon Universe graphic novels. So you'll see here with two different covers. So the first cover is your widely available standard cover A, and then you also have direct market exclusives. These are only available in comic stores with that cover. An image book I really enjoyed recently was Dark Ride. It was all to do with a horror themed theme park. Pardon me, and it came from the team of Joshua Williamson and Andre Bressan, who of course did Birthright together. Williamson's always at home when he's doing horror. I mean, Nailbiter certainly proves that. But yeah, it was a 3-volume series, 12 issues. All 3 volumes are on the shelves. New printing this week for The Flash Year 1. So Joshua Williamson, Howard Porter, going back to the beginning, so to speak. The Scarlet Speedster's origin starts here. So nice wee standalone one there. Next up, we have Gears of War Hive Busters. So this also, whether this still rings true, I don't know, but it features exclusive Gears 5 digital content. Sometimes those digital passwords don't last very, very long, but go beyond Gears 5 with this pulse-pounding mission and a whole new squad. Next up, we have Grindhouse, which is a nice sort of throwback book. It's a flip horror book. Again, Dark Horse. The main title is Lady Danger, Agent of Butte. Explicit content, parental advisory, and yeah, Grindhouse, doors open at midnight. Another IDW classic back in stock is Half Past Danger. This is the second book, which is called Dead to Rights. Always pitched at the people as Indiana Jones meets Jurassic Park, and it lives up very much to that billing. We have Joe Hill's The Cape, Fallen. So this was Joe Hill around him. Once he was getting Lock and Key established, he was also doing this sort of superhero book of what if superpowers fell into the wrong hands. You know, if power corrupts, then surely with great power comes even greater corruption. So yeah, I read that in singles when it came out at the time. Next up, we have the next volume of Kaya. So as far as issue 3 for Wes Craig's high fantasy book. If you're a fan of something like Bone or Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, great all ages adventure. 3 volumes deep so far, and again, we should have all 3 on the racks. Continuing the expansion of Dark Horse, we have Last Flight Out. With less than 24 hours before the last arc leaves a dying Earth, Dr. Ben Kaywood's daughter Sarah has gone missing. Finally, the critically acclaimed series about a father and daughter trying to reconcile at the end of the world is collected into a single unforgettable graphic novel from Mark Guggenheim, who's a writer on Arrow and X-Men, and art by Eduardo Fergato from Radiant Black. One of Marvel has now put a new modern era epic collection out. This is for New X-Men. He is for Extinction. This, of course, is when Grant Morrison came onto the X-Men. Frank Quitely as the artist. This is volume 1 for New X-Men, 2001 to 2002, and it collects the first 13 issues as well as the annual. IDW represented game with Night Moves from the mind of the writers of Channel Zero and Justified, and the co-creator of Lincoln on NBC comes a fantastic new noir tale. So set in Las Vegas. Next up, we have Punk's Not Dead, 2 volumes here. A book that operates in the tradition which believes comics is a blunderbuss and high art and low art should be crammed down its barrel for unleashing a blast. In other words, it's a book about everything. That's according to Kieran Gill. So awkward 15-year-old Fergie Ferguson can see dead people well, one dead person in particular, the ghost of a certain punk rocker named Sid, who's been trapped in Heathrow Airport for 40 years. Now they're inexplicably stuck together, so in addition to being a bullied geek, Fergie has to contend with an unruly ghost sidekick and some weird, uncontrollable new abilities. So 2 volumes for that, both in stock. I say Atomic Robo and Real Science Adventures, another volume of that in as well. This one is the Flying She-Devils in Raid on Marauder Island. A new release this week sees Realm of X from Torun Grombeck and Diogenes Neves. This was a 5-issue series, stranded in Vanaheim, focusing very much on focuses on magic, mirage, marrow and dust in the aftermath of the Hellfire Gala. Also topped up Snow Angels. I think I've spoken about this before. This is a great book from Jeff Lemire and Jock. It's very much got echoes of The Thing, post-apocalyptic tale. Fantastic artwork from Jock, and 2 volumes is the whole book. New release this week in the form of Thunderbolts World Strike. So this was a 4-issue miniseries, but it also includes the Devil's Reign Winter Soldier issue, written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Really cool art by Geraldo Borges. Really enjoyed this. Brought in Kingpin to it as well. Any new Winter Soldier book is fine by me. Venom Infiltration, so the latest volume of Venom hitting trade as well, or as far as volume 6. Al Ewing, Torun Grombeck co-writing this. This is where the symbiote attaches to Natasha, and we have sort of like a Black Widow spider. Really good actually. I've really enjoyed Venom. Venom seems to go up and down, certainly pull list wise, and some people jump off it, some people come on it. But I think it's been really solid. I think it slightly suffered because it wasn't Donny Cates and Rand Stegman, which was like this big blockbuster Venom. Next up we have Young Hellboy, The Hidden Land. So even when Big Red was little, he had no shortage of daring adventures. So join Hellboy creator Mike Mignola as he teams with writer Thomas Signowski, artist Craig Russo, and colorist Dave Stewart to bring you a tale of Hellboy's childhood. And then we finish off with a range of books on the X-Files. So these are hardcover collections released through AEW Comics. You have the X-Files Season 10 across a couple of volumes, and also the X-Files Season 11 across a couple of volumes as well. So yeah, these are great collections. You know, they do further expand the mythology of the show. They some of them work as one-off episodes, similar to how the show did sort of the months or week episodes, that kind of thing as well. So for you X-Files fans, again, we are expanding out those sections as well. So yeah, cheers for sticking with me this long. Obviously it's a big week in terms of releases, so just had to get through all of those. As I say, next time we're in the store, should be all change. As I say, bigger image section, new releases have moved, bigger sections for IDW and Dark Horse. And yeah, so as ever, we're just trying to improve the store as much as we can for you guys, so that you look forward to enjoying us here. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it proved useful as ever. Check back later, of course, we'll have the single issue video up in terms of new single issues out this week. But for now, that is the graphic collections done, and I'll hopefully see you in store soon. Until then, take it easy.